This podcast is produced by Visionary Studios. Hi everyone, I'm Mitchell Rail.
And I'm Sagar
and welcome back to Let's Unpack That. So today we are once again joined for the third time's a charm, right? Noa Taieb. Noa, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me again. I feel like this is my therapy session every 3 months. We get to really unpack everything that's been happening.
Last time the three of us worked together this past fall, your life was a little bit different. The title of that episode was quite literally, I'm single, now what? Right, that was what I titled that.
So this is now what? I'm not single.
Yeah, now what? Noah is no longer single. He's off the market.
Booed up.
Exactly. So give us the update. What has transpired in your life since November?
Of course, this is what we start with, Mitchell. We have to. I was laughing when we were talking about this episode because I was looking back at what we talked about last time, and I was really channeling the be single, love yourself energy. And I still stand by everything I said. I want to make sure that I start by saying that. I don't discredit anything we talked about. I feel like they're all very important things, but sometimes you get caught up and men do that. But since last fall, so obviously I was single and kind of focusing on myself, but also living it up. I was going on my first dates and kind of exploring for the end of summer last year. And then I reconnected with a boy who I had met in 2021. We met in a Zoom class. We didn't really meet, actually. We were just in the same Zoom class, and we would see each other every week, every time we kind of logged on. But we never talked. Obviously, I was in a relationship at the time. Well, I was engaged at the time. So there was no ambiguity or anything. We never talked, but I just knew who he was. Over the course of my single life where I was on the apps, I came across his profile on Hinge and we matched. And the first thing I had to say was, wait, are you that boy from that class? And that's how we kind of started talking again. It was very casual at first, but the first time we met in person to go on a date, it was giving lesbian relationship, let's move in together. The connection was just there. And I, of course, was all about being single and trying to focus on myself and loving myself. But I also was really open to just experiencing what life had to offer for me. And the connection that we had from the beginning was just great. But we were also super open about where we were at emotionally. He knew from the get-go that I had just come out of a relationship, that I was engaged and all those things. So I feel like we had that transparency from the beginning, which allowed us to build a relationship on our terms, which I loved. But at the same time, I feel like I'm a little bit of I'm a lover. I just love. And I didn't see myself just seeing other people at the same time as him. I was just going in and enjoying what we were building and what we were going for. And it was great. Just deep connection, super strong match in terms of love languages, which I feel like is not something I've experienced a lot with my past relationships. It's just very refreshing. And we've been spending the time together since last fall, until he asked me to be his boyfriend, I think, over the winter or something. So we made it official.
It's so great seeing you so happy. And I think in comparing and contrasting both then, now and then this past fall, I think you were still happy being single. Again, to not discredit what you had said before, I think even when you were single, that time that you spent on yourself, I would think, led you to be more ready to be in a more serious relationship.
100%. And I also feel like I picked up a lot of, not skills, but maybe mechanisms that are healthier for me to be in a relationship, relying a lot on myself for validation in a way that maybe in the past I would have relied on a partner for. It hasn't been linear. It hasn't been fully just all good. I feel like my social media presence also just testifies that. I've had my fair share, a little break of content over the past few months.
I don't want to get too heavily into the details of the timeline, but for those that are consistent Let's Unpack That listeners, we filmed your first episode in October, and then it came out in November, and then you and I had a prep call in December of 2022 for your episode that we filmed in January. And during that time was when you told me about your relationship, and you like sent me a picture. I'm like, okay, Noah, go off. And then like a few weeks later, I'm on my For You page, and Noah's like crying, and I'm like, what happened?
The public crying needs to stop. Someone needs to take my phone away when I'm sad. It needs to stop.
Because now I feel like you come up on my For You page, like go into the comments, and people are like, wasn't he single like 10 seconds ago? So just give us a little clarity, because I think that there's some people that are a little confused. What happened? Like, was it just like a short break? Like, what happened?
Yeah, so we had a break for I think two and a half weeks where we like fully broke up, and we're like, I think I'm talking about like how it's been all good, but I do feel like coming out of a long relationship, especially when you're with someone. I was with my ex for 4 years. We were engaged. We were ready, and I talked about that last episode. Like we were ready to commit for the long run, and when you lose that, there's a part of you that kind of feels like it's gone at the same time. And I do feel like I carried that a little bit into the next relationship, which was on me. And we're still learning and growing. Yeah. So at the beginning of our relationship, especially when I think he was more ready to make it official and to be my boyfriend than I was from the get-go, because I was so focused on, I need to be single. I need to learn to love myself. And I feel like we kind of, almost there's like a flip side of that narrative where you kind of forget to care for others. I was kind of fighting those expectations a little bit in remnants of my past relationship, which led to us breaking up. It was no contact for 2 weeks. The hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Cold turkey. Wow.
I really tried it. But as you could tell, and everyone on my For You page could tell, I was going through it. And I think that's also the period that made me realize, like, this doesn't feel good at any point, at any inch of my body feels like this is right. And I actually want to be with this person, and I want to make it work. Despite like mismatched expectations or maybe things that I'm still carrying from my past relationship, I really want to make this work. And yeah, the pain was just it didn't feel right. So we grabbed coffee and had a couple of tears, and back in the U-Haul we go.
That's great though. I feel like your mentality is probably a little different too. Like you're not, when you came back from that break, it wasn't like, oh, I have to be in a relationship right now. It's like, no, I want to be in this one. Like I feel like something, like you felt like the puzzle pieces kind of clicked when you were hanging out, right? And I totally get that too. So I can understand why you wouldn't want to like let that go, right? Mm-hmm.
100%. Yeah. And even having the breakup that same year, and then kind of falling in love again and having that relationship build from scratch was just so new. And I had to fight the urge to compare what I was experiencing to what I had experienced in the past in my past relationship. It was important for me to learn to open up and be vulnerable again with a person who doesn't know anything about me. And that can be scary. That can freak you out and be like, wait, this person already knows so much. And like, I've known them for 4 months. Mm-hmm. But I do think that period of being single and that break even itself just taught me to approach the relationship in a different way. I'm like, oh, it sounds so stupid, but I'm like grateful that I get to experience every part of it. Like even the heartbreak, of course I don't want to go back to feeling that heartbroken, but I do feel like, wow, I really got to experience that deep heartbreak that feels like makes you sick to your stomach. And like, that's insane to me. Like the connection that we built is so strong. And like, I get to experience this wide range of emotions in my life. I don't know. It's stupid, but it makes me like almost happy that I get to go through all that.
Before we fully move on from the break, I think something that I think of too, that I see guys and girlfriends that I have in my life that are in relationships, like they'll occasionally will have break periods. Is there a specific reason that led you to want to go like hard, like no communication? I
think part of the reason that I wanted to go no contact was like, I just felt that if I didn't, then I would stay and I wouldn't be able to just separate. And I think I was right. Like any time that I would have contact with him or even think about him too long or talk about him or see him, no contact and seeing each other at the gym, Do you know what that feels like? I have the most horrible story. He's a fitness instructor and used to be a personal trainer. So he's super into fitness. And that's something that we bonded over a lot in the first few months that we started hanging out. Obviously, I love going to the gym, but I also am just like a child with the machines. Like I do what I know and that's it. But we started going together and he'd show me tricks and tips, and slowly it started turning into a little bit of a, like, I'll train you, and he would just help me out. So we got a membership to the same gym. We started going to the same location, etc. And then the break happens and it's Equinox. So there's multiple locations around us in Los Angeles. And the first, I think 4 days after the breakup, I'm like, I'm not going to the gym. There's no way he's going to be there. And then one Tuesday morning, like the first Tuesday morning, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go. He told me he hated that specific location and he liked the other one better. So I'm going to go to the one he hates just to make sure he doesn't show up. So I'm on the way to the gym, driving my little car on FaceTime with my parents. I'm pulling up to the driveway that leads to the gym. And something tells me to look in my rearview mirror, and I look and I'm like, God damn, like pulling up in the driveway 10 seconds after me. And I'm like, that's his car, I'm pretty sure. So I go park in the parking lot. I stay in my car, like trying to peek. I have tinted windows. So I'm like, trying to peek and see if it's him. I see the car, darkest windows I've ever seen. I'm like, I can't even tell who's in the car, but just had a feeling and your heart is clenching and you feel hot. But in my mind, I'm like, he's going to see me get out of the car and go into the gym. He's probably going to decide to go somewhere else. So I take my stuff, go into the gym. I low-key wanted to see him. but I'm going in the gym, freaking out. I go to the locker room. I try to just do my thing quick and go out on the floor to like start lifting. There's like one little corner inside the gym where there's a wall so you can't see across the corner. Of course, I'm walking one way. And we crossed each other at the corner. And just the look, and my heart dropped. And I was like, God damn, this is happening. But anyway, we went through our gym session, didn't talk, didn't do anything. And then as I'm changing, even worse, as I'm showering at the end, I waited.
Where's this going? I didn't.
I said therapy, not relax. But I waited for him to, like, I couldn't see him in the gym anymore. So I thought he left. So I was like, okay, now I can go shower and leave. And I go shower, everything's good. And then I leave. And there's another one of these corners in the locker room. I'm in my towel. Okay, this is PG, I promise. But I'm in my towel. And we walk across the corner, hit into each other. Like physically bump into each other.
And then the towel fell.
No, not that one time.
Isn't that how the video starts? Or like...
I usually skip that part. It was very, very awkward. And it was just so sorry. And then packed up our shit and left, and that was it. But I think that's the first time that I experienced, I haven't had that many breakups in my life. Mm-hmm. And in all the breakups I've had, I feel like there was no moment where we could bump into each other in a way that felt awkward. So this was just peak of what I didn't want, and it happened.
So you get coffee after that 2-week break and you get back together. Mm-hmm. What lessons have you learned from your past relationships that you are now applying to this one to be more successful in it?
There's for sure the aspect about seeking validation in your partner versus in yourself. I'm so much more comfortable spending time alone and away from him. I feel like I just had a very, very anxious attachment style. And I'm obviously still working through it. It's not something that's going to be fixed overnight. But it's something that I now acknowledge and that I'm able to have conversations about. And that is what kind of demystifies the whole thing, because all of anxious attachment is just overthinking. It's you thinking, oh, if I'm not with him now, that means something's wrong. If he has a change of energy, that means something wrong. And I feel like I was very on that with my past relationship. So respecting myself, but also kind of him and what he wants and what he feels and what he is going through at the same time. And there's also I think, social media aspect that's a little big. And I'm like, my whole social media presence is about my life. A lot of my influencer or content creator friends have a niche that they can kind of throw themselves into that's completely independent from what they're going through. And that's kind of what most people who have a 9-to-5 go through. It's their life and then their work life. So if they're going through something in their personal life, it can stay completely independent from what they're going through in their work. And that provides kind of a safe haven where you don't have to think about your breakup or think about something that you're going through, and you can just focus on work. With me, it's like I'm going through a breakup and I have to make a video about how excited I am about going to the beach today, or about this new product that I just found out about, or about my gym regimen. And it's just, it gets so tainted.
You know, just somewhere.
This timing, can we talk about this timing? But yeah, like prime example, like I filmed that BetterHelp clip months before the breakup. And of course, it starts being broadcasted to 10 million people the week that I'm crying about my breakup on TikTok. So there's still a lot that I'm learning about kind of the separation between content and work for me and my personal life. There's obviously the breakup. I think I just went overboard with the emotions, and I just wanted to be vulnerable and share and not feel alone. But I do feel like I could have handled that in a cleaner way, let's say. But even the relationship aspect, I think my past relationship in particular, I just wanted to show the gay couple happy fantasy to the point where I just not orchestrated things, but my content was very much revolving around my relationship. Even at times where my partner, now my ex-partner, didn't really feel comfortable with it. He hated being in front of the camera. He hated filming videos for YouTube, etc. But I just felt the pressure every time I would post something with him. All my audience would be like, oh my God, we want more of him. We want more of him. Film a video with him. Do this, do that. And I prioritized that. Like I was like, this is my career, and like I want my life to be a reflection of that, and he's a part of my life, so make it work. Like come on screen. And I pushed him sometimes to sit down in front of the camera and talk about his personal life and do things like that. And I don't think he like resented me for it, but I do feel like I pushed him a little bit out of his comfort zone in a way that I don't know if I would do today. So I'm for sure handling that differently. It already took me a minute to talk about my current partner, Ricky, on my social media, but I know for sure that I will never force him to be in anything or to take part in anything that he doesn't want to be in. If he happens to be in my content, it's because one, he's a part of my life and a part of what I'm sharing, and that just comes naturally, and two, he's comfortable with it, and I'm not going to push him to do anything he doesn't want to do.
Yeah, it's almost like before, like both in your past relationship and in other influencer like relationships, it's like that TikTok relationship label where it's very much so their content is doing XYZ with my boyfriend or teaching my boyfriend XYZ. It's like very much so like their couple content is like a vertical of their content strategy, right? And it's like the content comes first before their actual relationship.
Yes.
But I feel like your approach, where it's more so authentic or kind of secret and just like little things shown here and there, is definitely probably, I would guess, the more successful approach to not having it become an issue in your relationship.
Yeah, it feels better. There's less pressure. And there's even a little bit of fun to that. Not going to lie, the soft launch timing was fun. Like sharing a hand here and there and just teasing a little bit was fun. I just want to make sure that I share what makes me happy, because I mean, now he's all over my social media, because when you're in love and you're at a point like, oh my God, I want to tell everyone. But I just want to make sure that I do it in a way that's mindful of him and that doesn't make us feel like we're letting other people into our relationship, which can happen a lot with social media.
Yeah, I can imagine it can become really easy to just kind of slowly coerce your way into it, and you don't even realize it until it's too late.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, there's a lot of growth here. I do love this. That means that you're not wasting my time every 3 months.
Thank you, doctor.
We're looking, no, but it's good. Like, we're looking at relationships a little bit differently. We're looking at social media and our obligation to folks that we don't know on the other end. We're looking at that differently, right? I'm just trying to summarize here.
And I remember, like, back in that first episode, you said how when you broke up and told your followers, right, that they were like freaking out, and it was like you're going through the breakup again. Is that?
Yeah, especially because I didn't talk about the breakup until like a month and a half after it happened. But yeah, it's exactly what I'm talking about. Like everyone goes through the ups and downs of the relationship with you, and people process things in very different ways. And yeah, I think some things are just healthier to cope and understand and go through on your own.
How's the reception to the new relationship?
They're loving it.
Loving it? I'm loving it too. I don't mind any of it. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
The one thing that I've noticed a lot in my comments and in my DMs recently is, and I feel like that's just the sweetest thing that I could hear from my audience, is people telling me like, you look so happy, or you've been looking so much happier recently. And yeah, that makes me smile and giggle, because I'm like, I'm in the giggle phase still.
Or like him performing at Coachella and like you watching him dance.
Yeah.
Like that was the
That was
cutest
so
stuff
sweet.
ever. Like, those are the cutest videos.
I think a big part of the like how in love I am with him is how much I admire him and like his drive in his own life and his work and the way he handles relationships and etc. But yeah, he's a dancer, and I've gotten to see him perform in so many different types of gigs over the past few months. It ranges from a Chippendales moment that they had for when the show came out, and then I saw him at the Encanto live show, so a Disney production, and just like the full shebang, but super family friendly. And then at Coachella, where he was performing with Rosalia, so just like the full range. And I'm so admiring of his talent.
But that's so great, and I'm so happy to hear that you are so happy. It's amazing. It's amazing to see, Noah.
Thank you.
Otherwise, you have some other really exciting things going on in your life that you've been working on really, really hard, and it's out now. So tell us, what have you been working on?
So I just recently launched my swimwear and accessories brand. It's called Sunny Days. It's been a project that I've had like an idea of in my mind for a few years now. It really got into works, I would say, a little bit over a year ago. I was doing that kind of behind the scenes, just working on it and trying to figure it all out by myself, until a few weeks before the launch, where I decided to kind of open up the process to my audience. I just felt like I wanted people to be a part of it. I needed input and I wanted feedback before it all came out. So kind of sharing that journey at the same time, and then it launched. And so, yeah, that's my brand, Sunny Days.
That's so exciting. So there is a lot of swimwear brands out there. There's lots in the market across different verticals, price points, etc. What makes Sunny Days different? Like, why should the gays be purchasing? Like, why do they need it?
This is your rally call. Like
Yeah, give us the pitch.
This is my pitch. So I love that we're talking about it for the gays, because the whole premise of the brand is that it was made by and for the gays. I think the big part of me wanting to start with swimwear is because when I was out and trying to look for swimsuits that I loved, I wasn't really finding the styles that I loved in the big brands that we all know about. The styles are just very either outdated or kind of quirky and straight, and it just wasn't my thing. So it was designed with our community in mind. That goes through multiple things. Of course, the designs and the way the swimwear actually fits and looks on our bodies and the kind of types of swimsuit that we're putting out. Also in representation, we're trying really hard to have a really diverse team behind the cameras and the people that are helping me out on the business side and kind of putting the strategy together, but also in front of the camera. I really want to make sure that our models are diverse, not only a part of the LGBTQ plus community, but in terms of ethnicity, body types, etc. Just to make sure that we're giving a platform to people who don't necessarily have one in order to express themselves and create something really beautiful around this brand. There's just a really positive, I think, aura and message and energy around the brand that I want to share with as many different groups of people as possible. The third aspect of the brand that I'm really proud of is our commitment to nonprofits. We have a nonprofit partner called the It Gets Better Project. They're a nonprofit based in the US that is working to kind of uplift, empower, and connect LGBTQ plus youth all around the globe. They provide great resources, and they're just a great organization that I actually worked with another brand when I was working just as a content creator in the past. And I stayed connected with the team because I was really proud of the work that they were doing. And so when Sunny Days kind of came to being, we decided to kind of pick up that conversation. And so they're a nonprofit partner now. So a percentage of every sale goes to the It Gets Better Project. And we might even come out with products that are solely for the nonprofit in the future.
That's so cool to have like that commitment to the community. Definitely makes it worth supporting. Like, I will be purchasing. Do you want to kind of give us an overview of what is in this initial launch line?
So we're starting with a really small collection. We have 3 products. So 2 swimsuits, 1 swim brief, the Speedo, and 1 swim short for people who want to cover up a little more. And then we also came out with trucker hats. I know that a lot of my audience is not necessarily male or identifies as male or wants to wear male swimsuits. So I wanted to have a product that's kind of unisex and that any gender could wear. All 3 of those products are coming out in our first 3 colorways. So we have black, a beige, and a kind of orange gradient that's called Tequila Sunrise.
Oh, love that. What a good name. Noah, look at you. So did you come up with all of these names yourself? Like, have you been super hands-on, or is there a team helping you as well?
For now, it's just me. As young as I can remember, I always knew that I loved fashion. When I was a little closeted gay kid, I used to have these little sketchbooks where you would draw fashion pieces on like bare models. So I kind of always knew that I would come out with a clothing brand at some point. My mom was always joking about it, saying that I was going to end up in fashion, despite all the education I wanted to get and the different routes I wanted to go into. And so when the idea for Sunny Day came around, it started the same exact way. I had a little notebook that I think I still have, and I started sketching things out, swimsuits that honestly I wanted to wear and that I thought would look cool. And little by little, the collection started building out from there, just from my little sketchbook, and also from playing around with Photoshop and Illustrator, just starting to design little things or make illustrations, and just things that were in my universe. And so for now, it's just me, but I'm learning a lot from the people who are commenting and interacting with the brand's content on TikTok and on Instagram, getting so many ideas. There's people reaching out who want to be a part of the project and kind of help out on the design side. So for now, it's just me, but I'm sure that we'll get plenty of help in the future. And also, it's exciting to me to be able to kind of shed the spotlight on people who don't have that opportunity yet, and who might be super talented.
I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff happening, you know, front facing, but I can't imagine that this process was like easy. So I'm curious, do you have any like lessons for, maybe there's other gabies out there who want to start, you know, their own clothing line or do something in a similar realm? Like, have you had any, I don't know, burns yet, or any like things that you were like, shit, I learned something here?
I mean, I'm starting this business from scratch, and I had no experience in building a business or in even fashion in general. So there are definitely a lot of learning points. I'll call them that, and little challenges I've encountered. Biggest one that I encountered was just trying to find suppliers and manufacturers that I trust and that I value at the same level as the brand itself. I really wanted the production to be based in the United States, just as a matter of transparency into the streamline process and into the life of workers that we have on the team, but quickly realized that the prices are obviously very different from our domestic production versus international. The search for a manufacturer is really difficult because it's not something that's super transparent and publicized. It's something that you kind of have to like dig into the internet to find contacts or to talk to people. It's not something that's super accessible. I had my first money scare with a manufacturer that I found on a website in LA. It was like the perfect match. They were doing small batch manufacturing, which is what I wanted to do. They had done swimwear in the past. It just seemed like super aligned. I had a call with the guy who was responsible for sales at the manufacturers, kind of going over the project, kind of sold him on Sunny Days and what the mission was and what the kind of product was and who our audience was going to be, etc. He sold me on their enterprise and everything in a way that I was like, this is a perfect match. Like, this is going to be it. How manufacturing works is usually you sign a contract before the work is done where you have to put a deposit in. At least half of the price that's agreed upon is due when you start the project, and then the second half upon delivery. But he was going to send me the contract the day after, and I was so excited to get started on this because, I mean, it was like my dream to finally get to work and see the product in person. And I'm laying in bed that night just thinking about the brand. And you know how like when you have a project you're really excited on, or a presentation you're working on, or something that's happening the day after, the night before, you're usually a little freaked out and like jittery. So that was me in bed. And I was just like, it's too perfect. Like, it's too perfect of a match. Something feels off. Like, I have to double check before I send that chunk of money because it was time to invest. It was like the first time I was going to take that project from an idea in my mind to something tangible that I'm going to put money behind. And so I'm laying in bed and I'm like, okay, tomorrow morning, first thing I do is dig deeper into that company and see what it's about. First thing in the morning, I start Googling and kind of looking behind it, and it was all a scam. The website had just been created weeks before. There was really nothing behind it. The business address they were using had nothing at the address. So yeah, I did the homework and realized that that looked sketchy. So I think I dodged a bullet there, but it really taught me to like look behind me and look twice and make sure that everything is trustworthy. And I'm really happy because a few weeks later I ended up finding my current manufacturer. They're based in Texas, so still based in the US, and they've been amazing at kind of working with me as a first-time brand owner and designer in really learning the ropes of it, because it's super technical. Like, I didn't realize, well, I did know that I was gonna have to dig deep into what fashion design was, but I didn't realize the amount of detail that was gonna go into it. It's whole new words, whole new things that I'm learning, and they've been a great partner in that, where they really teach me things and they don't just expect me to know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I'm excited to see that all come to fruition. So if people want to check out Sunny Days, where can they go?
So it's all the same username across social media. It's Get Sunny Days. And then our website is getsunnydays.com. Working really hard to kind of unlock the Sunny Days usernames, but it's an easy name. It's going to be hard. We'll get there, but it's Get Sunny Days for now.
Exciting. Well, Noah, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today. Before we wrap up here, what's the biggest advice or piece of advice you give somebody who's like, hey, I want to start a brand, but I don't know what to do. How do I even get started?
There's, I think, two things that I would say. The first one is talk about it. Talk about it around you. Talk about it to friends. Talk about it to random people. I don't know if it's a gay thing or if it's just a youth thing, but I feel like when we have an idea, we kind of get protective about it, and we're like, I can't share it with others until it's ready and it's done because I don't want someone to steal it, or I just don't feel confident in my idea yet. But there are so many things that get unlocked and that come out when you start talking about it, both because expressing it out loud allows you to form ideas in a way that having in your mind isn't working the same, and you'll also just get so much feedback from people. No one's going to steal your idea. I promise you that. But people are excited to bring in their feedback or to tell you, oh my God, I know someone who's done that before. Or I know someone who works in that industry. Let me connect you. And so many times I've had that moment where I just shared about Sunny Days and how excited I was about the brand with someone. And they just opened up a door for me to kind of build that project to life. And that talking about it is really what helps you get started beyond just doing the work by yourself. And then the second thing I would do, and that's kind of my founder, content creator side that comes out, is document everything. I started recording videos and just like going on photo booth and just showing my first sketches and just taking videos, a little bit of everything. I wish I had done it 3 years ago when I first started thinking about launching a brand, because there's so much value in just looking back at where you were and how it started. It's going to be content that you can use for your marketing strategy, and it's also just something that's super humbling and that will make you feel grateful for in the future.
That's really, really good advice.
Well
yes,
done.
look at you go.
Yes.
So motivational, inspirational. Well, thank you so much, Noah. Do you want to give everyone your socials if they aren't following you already?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Noa Taieb, which is my first and last name.
And you guys can follow us on Instagram at UnpackTHT and on TikTok at UnpackThatPod. And we'll see you guys right back here every other Thursday. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.